Morning, James. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks.
Good. It's very nice for you to join us today. Thank you for doing it for us. So we're just going to start with the first question. We'll just get straight to it. So, when and where were you last deployed, please?
So quite fortunately, I found myself in China. I had the opportunity to support UK's defence engagement in that region, supporting the defence attaché and the whole defence team out in Beijing in China. So really nice 6 months spent.
That's amazing. What's it like there?
It's really interesting. It's a totally different cultural experience, and I love food. So I tasted all sorts of weird stuff, including scorpions and all sorts. But yeah, really good time. And I learned some of the language as well. I ended up coming away with my HSK level 1, which is very elementary, but it was still aim achieved.
I think that's a great achievement, really. Great. So how did you hear about Advance and the study that we're doing?
Uh, Thinking back, it was quite a long time ago. I do believe that actually the advanced study team got in touch with me, or certainly Headley Court got in touch with me to say that this study was happening and would I like to participate, and it sounded like a fantastic idea, so I got on board.
Okay, bro. And why did you choose to take part? What was the reasons behind joining?
So I suppose I've been plagued with my injury in one way or another ever since I received my injuries back in 2007. And I think there is something really wonderful about the advanced study that is looking at injuries in a slightly different way, by not actually looking at the injury, but looking at the other impacts on health, which seems pretty groundbreaking and very important. But I think there's other layers there as well. It's nice to be part of something where your participation in an activity in this study is going to help other people in the future, and that was something that I was also very keen to see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a long study, isn't it? 20 years. So
it is, yeah, absolutely. I think
everybody, that we do keep everyone that we have on the study. It's a very long time, but also beneficial for you also to take part, as well as beneficial for us. So I think that's definitely an important point. We do have injured and non-injured people. So obviously, a lot of people do join just because generally health, I suppose, isn't it? Not just because you may be injured, but also because you just generally worried about your own health all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I mean, who has a full sort of MOT? No one that I know of, certainly inside or out of the military. Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. But again, just engaging with the team is also, it's very enjoyable.
Good. I'm so glad. How did you find your last visit to us? What was like the best parts of the day? I mean, you can say the food, but I don't think so. But yeah, just like the best parts and how you found being here on the day.
Oh, look, I mean, the food was better than scorpions, but fair enough. So I think from the moment you arrive, you're made to feel very welcome. Someone greets you. It's a very smiley face that is very pleased for you to be there, and I think that it makes you feel like you belong and you're part of not just the study, but part of something a bit more, which is particularly nice. And again, all the time you're going through those tests, those study, I won't say whatever they are, activities to test the health conditions. It's really good because the person next to you who's taking those tests is talking you through each bit and explaining stuff as you go. So you get a little bit of insight into what's happening, but also the why, which is quite nice. And again, at the end of it, having someone to sit down and discuss with you the bits and bobs, the results from some of those tests, again, very useful. But it's just nice. It's nice being there. It's nice speaking to the team.
Okay, brilliant. And so do you have a best part of the day, or just general overview was good?
So last time I did enjoy the sprints because I find that I'm getting a little bit more generous around the middle as the years go by. So it's always nice to kind of push how fast I can waddle to and from those cones. But I like the tests. I like going through all those tests. Yeah, it's good. And the DEXA scan.
quite amazing. Yes, the DEXA scan. Yeah. It's funny seeing everybody in a skeleton form, to be fair. So yeah. What impact has advance had on your life in particular, please, James?
Without going into too much detail, because it will bore everyone that's listening.
I'm sure it won't.
So my injury is multiple shrapnel. I had multiple shrapnel from an RPG detonating in front of me. Nothing too serious, only soft tissue, but the damage was lifelong. And actually, I thought it was going to be a very quick fix. What that's meant is that I've had to go through 2 career changes, and my whole life has been impacted from injury. But the focus has always been on my injury. And at no stage has anyone stopped to have a look at anything else that may impact me other than my injury, but as a result of having that injury. And I think what I've found from the tests and the results is that stuff's been picked up, and it's been picked up way quicker than what it would have been, because I wouldn't have been testing or looking for it if I weren't part of the study. So one thing that I noticed on one of the first, crikey, I don't even know how many times I've been back now. I think it's twice. One of them picked up a bone density issue, and that's basically come through a lack of impact work. I don't run because of my lower limb injuries. So what that's enabled me to do is go to the doctors, realize that I have osteopenia. Wonderful that that's been picked up. So I'm now starting to run off the back of it, and we'll look to keep progressing that running further and further.
How's it going? Are you enjoying it?
It's really good. It's really good. There's a lot of pain management involved, obviously, but the weight of the balance of that, shall I or shan't I, is do I have a bit more pain and I just grin and bear it, or do I have real-time health conditions that get worse? And I think the latter was definitely worth mitigating. So I'm enjoying it. I'm up early anyway. I go for a run, then walk the dog, and I think I've lost a couple of pounds, and it's certainly good for health.
Yeah, definitely. That's great. Regarding the pain management, do you just take a painkiller just out of curiosity?
No, I was on tramadol for such a long time when I had my injuries. We used to refer to them as moon biscuits, because you're pretty spaced out when you're on them. So I had to, I had to wean myself off of the reliance on them. I just didn't like it. And in my current job, I'm running an organization. I need to be sharp a lot of the time, and I think it kind of dulls your senses. I mean, that's the point, I suppose. So I do things like I put my feet up, or hot water bottle, cold pack, whatever I need, and I work around it, and I'm kind of used to it now.
That's amazing. Also, it said here about a hearing follow-up as well.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Thanks. I totally forgot. That's been the latest thing that's come out. So I've always thought I had hearing issues. As much as my wife said she thought it was selective, especially when there were chores to be done. But it's now been uncovered that I do have some form of impairment in one of my ears, which is fairly common. But again, because that's been picked up, I'm now booking a hearing test, a proper hearing exam, to dive
it all out.
Further into the ear canal and have a look what's going on.
Yeah, that's great. It's important to do so, just because of the work that you do, that you did with it, within the military. It's just because we have to check that that's a normal factor of military life, or whether there's something else deeper. So that's what we do there. Great. So next question: is there anything more you would like to see from the study? Don't know if you ever thought about that.
So I mean, look, I think I'm always looking for where I can help improve stuff, but actually, I at the moment I don't think I've found anything really that I would change. I think the team are particularly great. The tests are very thorough. The results are clearly coming out, and where needed, being communicated to the right people. So actions can be taken if there are any health concerns. So actually, I think it's really great. I'm hoping that everyone else who's a participant will continue to engage in the study, for that full 20 years, because clearly the most damaging thing that can happen is that participants drop off and you don't get that sort of data set over that 20 years.
Exactly.
But I would certainly add in there that I would like to see less of my DEXA scans, I suppose. The last time I looked at one, I'm noticing that a lovely colourful outline is of my body, but where the shorts are, the band of the short, there's a horrible little cut in there that really displays my middle.
Yeah. I said I'd never go for one, you know, voluntary. I'd never do that because I don't want to know. Brill, thank you. What are the 3 ways that you would describe your experience with Advance? So just 3.
Look, I think enlightening is certainly something that I would say.
Yes.
You know, the ability to be able to dive into your own, you know, your own current sort of health status in such a meaningful way, so comprehensively. Definitely welcoming, you know, and that sort of feeling of belonging. And then other than that, I suppose it's all about giving back, you know, and that being part of something bigger, where you know that what you're part of is going to help so many others in the future.
I do know a few people that have come and seen like photos on the wall, and also seen people that they used to be with or work with. So I guess it's still having that part of the old life that you know, and all the people that you've met through doing this kind of work, that people would see somebody and be like, oh, you know, or somebody would be in at the same time, and chat about stuff, I think, for people.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think when you head down, I suppose the one bit that I didn't mention earlier is, you know, I don't know personally any of the participants that I've met so far, in person anyway. When I go to the you know, for the study, but it's nice to share those journeys, those experiences, the bit of the past as well. But actually, more recently, I've noticed that 2 of the guys that are on the virtual calls as part of the participant panel are 2 guys that I serve with in my infantry battalion. So it's it's nice. It's nice to see familiar faces.
I like that. What have you been up to since you left active service?
I had a really nice long plan. I had a nice long run up when I left the military, knowing that I would always at some point medically discharge. And I'd moved into the intelligence world at that point. So it was quite natural for me to move into something intelligence related. And I found a role fairly senior in government digital service within the Cabinet Office as the head of cyber threat intelligence. But as much as that was great, I wanted to have a bit more impact. So whilst I did that, I used TechVets to find that job, funnily enough. I then volunteered for about 12 to 14 months until the first role became available for the first CEO of TechVets, and I managed to land that. So ever since January 2020, I've been leading TechVets, which is all about supporting our forces community into IT related careers to get the most out of their skills and experience so they can have, you know, much better lives.
That's amazing. So it's just for veterans then that have come through the system?
No, it's for the whole forces community. So we support people that are still serving in full-time service if they want to upskill for the future or even move laterally across defence. We support, you know, that's full-time and reservist. We support service leavers. We support veterans who are unemployed, veterans who are in non-IT related careers who want to career change into something more technical. And we support the partners and spouses of all of those groups, so they can also get a bit more out of their military association. You know, a lot of them have a very broken career path because they're following the military around. And we're even supporting in a very specific pilot, we're supporting the dependents of the forces families from the age of 14 to 24 as well. So hopefully more to come on that.
I think that's really important because firstly, when you're in the military and you maybe are discharged for any reason, you then go, oh gosh, what do I do with myself? Or like you say, if you're following a military life, what do I do with myself if I'm the partner? I think that's a really, really good thing to do. Amazing, well done.
Thanks.
Have you got any words of wisdom for your fellow participants on the advanced study?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, there's going to be a lot of them that are already veterans, but some of them, you know, won't be. And I think one thing that I've found, and certainly one thing that I built TechVets on, funnily enough, is the strength of the veteran community. So I think I would definitely recommend reaching out to people, you know, whether it's a local veteran meetup, you know, or there's plenty of other things, you know, things like TechVets, you know, you've got Forces Employment Charity, GenDit Network, they've all got sort of community bits which people can lean into. But it's about finding others with that shared background, who understand a bit more about what you may have been through, and to be able to lean on them as well for that shared identity, because that's the other thing that can become really lost when you leave the military, is your identity, your connection to that military family. So yeah, so definitely lean on the veteran community. It's particularly strong.
Amazing. What's your favourite way to spend your weekends, just on a personal level?
So I like walking. You know, I'm running now, which is nice. Although usually on a Sunday morning, when it's hardly anyone around as well, is quite nice. I quite like gaming actually as well. I think I have a very intense job with a lot of hours, and sometimes that can creep up to sort of, you know, between 50 and 80-hour weeks. And it's nice to be able to disconnect totally, because I work from home full time. So gaming can sometimes be a nice little, create that gap in between work and family life. But yeah, all sorts really. Food and drink especially is right up there.
Right up there. Okay, great, thank you. What are your top film and favourite book of all time?
My top film would have to be Interstellar, I would imagine.
Never seen that.
So I like Chris Nolan films anyway. They're real sort of thinkers. But this one in particular, because it basically took real science but stretched it to its limits. But fantastic film, great acting, wonderful sort of scenery and effects. Yeah, awesome. Favorite book. I have read some really great books actually, but I like books that I find add a lot of value in my life. And one of the best ones was Black Box Thinking. And that's all about critical thought processes and positively dealing with failure. And that's certainly a part in tech. You have to build everything fast and fail as quickly as you can, so you can then build in resilience and make changes to get to success. So really good book.
Okay, amazing, thank you. And then to end, which Maya always asks me to ask the participants, but I'm not sure like how well this goes, but your favorite joke. Take it.
Look, if I haven't already destroyed my reputation with this session, then I won't do with a joke. My youngest, my 12-year-old, every time I open my mouth with an attempt at a joke, dad jokes he calls them, I have to stop very quickly. He gets very embarrassed. I don't have any good jokes, so I'll refrain.
No, I only have one joke and it's terrible, so I won't go there either. Okay, thank you very much, James, for speaking to us.
Look, thank you for having me. It's always great to support the study.
Thank you.